Jake Morrison stood very still on the bridge of the spaceship. His hands were behind his back and his feet were together. He wore his best blue uniform with shiny buttons. Today was the most important day of his life. Today, humans would meet aliens for the first time. The spaceship was called UES Harmony. It was big and white, floating in space near a strange planet. Jake could see the planet through the large window. It was purple and blue, with silver clouds. 3 moons hung in the dark sky around it. Jake was 28 years old. He worked as a communications officer. His job was to help people talk to each other. He had studied alien languages for 2 years, getting ready for this day. He knew how to say hello, please, and thank you in the Zephyrian language. But he was still very nervous. Ambassador Helen Carter stood next to him. She was the leader of their team. She was 50 years old with gray hair and kind eyes. She had met important people from many countries on Earth, but she had never met aliens before either. "Remember, Jake," she said quietly, "we must be very polite. These aliens are very advanced. They can do things with their minds that we cannot do. They can read thoughts and move things without touching them." Jake nodded. He had read all the files about the Zephyrians. They lived for hundreds of years. They had technology that seemed like magic. Their spaceships could appear and disappear instantly. They could talk to each other with their minds across great distances. The other humans on the bridge were also nervous. Captain Amy Rodriguez stood at the captain's chair. Dr. Lisa Park, the science expert, held her computer tablet with shaking hands. Everyone knew this meeting would change everything. "They are coming," said the ship's computer in a calm voice. "Zephyrian transport detected." Jake felt his heart beat faster. A bright blue light appeared in the center of the bridge. The light grew bigger and brighter. Jake had to close his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, 3 tall figures stood where the light had been. Jake's mouth fell open. The aliens were beautiful in a way he had never imagined. They were much taller than humans, almost 7 feet high. Their skin was light blue and seemed to glow softly. Their hair was silver and moved like water, even though there was no wind. But it was the one in the middle that made Jake forget how to breathe. She was clearly their leader. She wore a long dress that sparkled like stars. Her silver hair fell to her shoulders and seemed to have tiny lights in it. Her eyes were large and the color of deep space, with small stars twinkling inside them. Her face was perfect with high cheekbones and full lips. Jake knew from the files that this was Princess Lirelei. She was royal, important, and very powerful. She was also the most beautiful being he had ever seen. The 2 aliens with her were guards. They wore dark armor that looked like metal but moved like cloth. They had weapons that glowed with soft light. Their eyes watched everything, ready for danger. Ambassador Carter stepped forward. She had practiced this moment many times. "Welcome aboard our ship," she said in careful, slow English. "I am Ambassador Helen Carter of Earth. We are honored to meet you." The princess looked at her with those amazing star-filled eyes. When she spoke, her voice was like music. "I am Princess Lirelei of House Starweaver of the Zephyrian Empire. We greet you in peace, humans of Earth." Jake was supposed to be paying attention to his job. He was supposed to be ready to help with translation, if needed. But he could not stop staring at the princess. She moved like she was dancing even when standing still. The small lights in her hair changed color slowly. Her dress seemed to be made of captured starlight. Everything about her was graceful and perfect. Jake had seen beautiful women before. He had dated several nice girls back on Earth. But this was different. This was like seeing a sunset for the first time, or hearing the most beautiful song ever written. Without thinking about it, Jake whispered what he thought was a very quiet comment. "Holy stars, she's absolutely gorgeous, like breathtakingly beautiful." He thought he had said it so softly that no one could hear. He thought his words were just for himself, like thinking out loud. He was wrong. The princess turned her head toward him instantly. Her large, star-filled eyes went wide with surprise. The 2 guards suddenly became very alert, their hands moving toward their weapons. Ambassador Carter looked confused. She did not understand why the mood had suddenly changed. Dr. Park looked worried. Captain Rodriguez took a step forward, sensing trouble. The princess stared directly at Jake. Her voice was still musical, but now it had a sharp edge to it. "Did you just compliment my appearance, human?" Jake felt his face turn red-hot. His heart started beating so fast he thought it might explode. He realized that somehow the princess had heard his quiet words. The guards were now fully alert. The weapons on their belts began to glow brighter. One of them, a female with scars on her face, stepped closer to the princess. "Princess," the scared guard said, "this human may be attempting to influence your mind. Such tactics are forbidden by our laws." Ambassador Carter looked at Jake with panic in her eyes. She did not know what he had done, but she knew it was bad. I'm sorry," Jake stammered. "I didn't mean, I thought I was speaking quietly." "There is no such thing as quiet to us," the princess said. Her voice was cold now. "We hear all thoughts, all words, all intentions. Your words have been heard by all present." The guard with scars put her hand fully on her weapon now. "Princess, we should end this meeting. This human has violated protocol. He has attempted to influence you with inappropriate comments." Jake wanted to disappear. He wanted to sink into the floor and never come back. His one job was to help make this meeting go well. Instead, he had ruined everything with one stupid comment. But as he looked at the princess, he saw something strange in those star-filled eyes. She was not angry. She was curious. "Tell me, human Jake Morrison," she said, and Jake was surprised. She knew his name. "In your culture, what does such a comment mean? What was your intention?" Ambassador Carter jumped in quickly. "Your Highness, please forgive Lieutenant Morrison. Humans sometimes speak their thoughts without meaning to. It was not intended as disrespect." "Intention?" repeated the princess slowly, as if the word was new to her. "You speak of intention as if it can be separate from action. This is interesting." The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife. Everyone waited to see what would happen next. Jake felt like his future, and maybe the future of human-alien relations, hung in the balance, all because he thought a beautiful alien princess was beautiful, and said it out loud. The guard with scars on her face stepped forward. Her name was Commander Zara Nightwhisper. Her dark armor made soft clicking sounds as she moved. The weapon at her side now glowed bright red. "Princess, this is clearly an attack," Commander Nightwhisper said. Her voice was hard and angry. "This human is using primitive charm tactics to influence your mind. Such behavior cannot be allowed." Jake felt sick to his stomach. Everything was going wrong so fast. Ambassador Carter moved closer to him like she was trying to protect him. "Please, Commander," Ambassador Carter said, "there has been a misunderstanding. Humans do not have the ability to influence minds. We cannot read thoughts or project thoughts, like your people can." Commander Nightwhisper made a sound that might have been laughter, but it was not happy laughter. "Impossible," she said. "How could any intelligent species survive without mental defenses? How could you explore space or build technology without telepathic abilities?" Dr. Lisa Park stepped forward. She held her tablet in front of her like a shield. "Commander, if I may," Dr. Park said nervously. "Human brains work very differently from Zephyrian brains. We have studied your people for years through the signals you sent us. We know you communicate with thought, but humans communicate only with words, sounds, and body language." The princess tilted her head to one side. The lights in her hair seemed to pulse slowly, like a heartbeat. "You mean," she said, "that when this human spoke those words, he did not intend for me to hear them?" "That's right, Your Highness," Jake said quickly. His voice cracked a little. "I thought I was speaking too quietly for anyone to hear. In human culture, sometimes we say things to ourselves when we see something beautiful, like a sunset or a piece of art or—" He stopped, his face turning red again. "Or a person," the princess finished for him. "Yes, Your Highness." Commander Nightwhisper's weapon glowed even brighter. "This is clearly a lie. No species could be so weak as to have no control over their thoughts and words. But Princess Lyreley held up her hand. The commander stopped talking immediately. "I want to understand this," the princess said. "You are telling me that humans express thoughts without meaning others to hear them." "Sometimes, yes," Ambassador Carter said. "When humans are moved by strong feelings, they sometimes speak without thinking. It is not meant to manipulate or control anyone, it is just expression." The princess walked closer to Jake. He could smell something like flowers and ozone. Her star-filled eyes looked directly into his. "And what feelings caused you to speak? Those words?" she asked. Jake swallowed hard. He knew everyone was listening. The future of two species might depend on his answer. "I was amazed by your beauty," he said honestly. "Not just how you look, but how you move, how you carry yourself. You are graceful and elegant in a way I have never seen before. When I saw you, I felt wonder, like seeing something miraculous." The princess stared at him for a long moment. The lights in her hair pulsed faster. "In my culture," she said slowly, "all thoughts are controlled. All words are chosen carefully. We are taught from birth to guard our minds and speak only with purpose. The idea of expressing wonder without intention is—" She paused. "Foreign. To us?" Commander Nightwhisper made an angry sound. "Princess, do not let this human confuse you with his strange ideas. He is clearly attempting to manipulate your emotions." "But that is exactly what interests me," the princess said. "How can he manipulate emotions if he has no telepathic ability? How can his words affect me if he cannot reach into my mind?" Dr. Park looked excited. "Your Highness, this is exactly what we hoped to discuss. Human and Zephyrian minds work in completely different ways. We could learn so much from each other." The princess turned to Dr. Park. "Explain." Dr. Park looked at her tablet, then back at the princess. "Humans evolved without telepathy. We learn to understand each other through words, tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. When we feel strong emotions, we sometimes express them without thinking because that is how our brains work. And these expressions," the princess said, "they are not meant to control others?" "No, Your Highness," Jake said. "When I said you were beautiful, I was not asking for anything. I was not trying to make you do anything. I was just expressing wonder." The princess was quiet for a moment. The bridge was so silent that Jake could hear the soft humming of the ship's engines. "In my world," the princess finally said, "no one expresses wonder about my appearance. They are too afraid or too controlled, or they want something from me. But you expressed wonder without expecting anything in return." Commander Nightwhisper looked worried now. "Princess, please. This human's influence is already changing how you think. This is exactly what I warned about." But the princess ignored her guard. She looked at Jake with those amazing star-filled eyes. "I want to understand this human concept of expression without purpose," she said. "I want to learn about wonder." Ambassador Carter looked relieved. "Your Highness, we would be honored to share our culture with you, just as we hope to learn about your culture." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Princess, would you like to continue this discussion in our observation lounge? It is more comfortable there, and we can show you examples of human art and expression." The princess looked interested. "Yes, I would like that very much." Commander Nightwhisper moved quickly. "Princess, I cannot allow you to be alone with these humans. It is too dangerous." "Then you will come with me," the princess said simply, "but we will have this discussion." As they walked toward the observation lounge, Jake felt a mixture of relief and terror. He had not ruined first contact completely, but he had started something he did not fully understand. The princess walked beside him as they moved through the ship's corridors. Her dress made soft sounds like wind chimes. "Jake Morrison," she said quietly, "your words about wonder interest me. In my world, I have never been allowed to wonder freely. Tell me, what else causes humans to express wonder?" Jake thought about it. "Music," he said. "Art, the stars, good food, friendship, love. Sometimes just being alive on a beautiful day." The princess was quiet for a moment. "These things make you speak without thinking?" Sometimes, yes. And others do not think less of you for these expressions. Jake smiled a little. Usually not. Sometimes they even share the feeling. As they entered the observation lounge, Jake saw the princess looking around with those star-filled eyes. She seemed to be seeing everything differently now. He wondered what he had started, and he wondered if it would end well for anyone. The observation lounge was the most beautiful room on the UES Harmony. Large windows showed the purple and blue planet below them, with its 3 silver moons hanging in space like jewels. Soft chairs were arranged in a circle, and the walls showed pictures of Earth. Princess Lirelai stood by the big window looking out at the stars. The lights in her hair seemed to match the stars outside. Commander Night Whisper stood behind her, watching Jake carefully. "Please sit," Ambassador Carter said, gesturing to the chairs. "We have prepared some examples of human culture to share with you." The princess sat gracefully. Even her way of sitting seemed like a dance. Jake sat across from her, still nervous but curious about what would happen next. Dr. Park activated a wall screen. Pictures appeared showing human art, music, and literature. "This is how humans express emotions and ideas," Dr. Park explained. "We paint pictures, write stories, and make music to share our feelings with others." The first picture was a painting of a sunset over an ocean. Bright orange and pink colors filled the sky. The princess stared at the painting. "This is beautiful," she said slowly. "But why did the human who made this feel the need to create it?" Jake leaned forward. "Maybe because they saw a sunset like this and felt wonder, just like I felt when I saw you. They wanted to share that feeling with others." "But why?" the princess asked. "What purpose does sharing wonder serve?" Jake thought about how to explain it. "It connects us. When someone sees that painting, they might feel the same wonder the artist felt. It makes us feel less alone in the universe." The princess tilted her head. "In my world, we share thoughts directly, but we do not share wonder. We share information, plans, orders, but not feelings of beauty." Commander Night Whisper spoke up. "Because feelings of beauty serve no practical purpose, Princess. They do not help us govern, fight, or advance our technology. But they help us live," Jake said without thinking. Then he caught himself. "I mean, they help humans live. They give us reasons to do all those other things." The next image was a piece of music written on paper. Dr. Park played the sound through the ship's speakers. It was a gentle piano piece, soft and sad and beautiful. The princess closed her eyes as she listened. The lights in her hair pulsed in rhythm with the music. "This makes me feel strange," she said. "Like something is moving inside my chest." "That's emotion," Jake said, softly. "The person who wrote this music felt something deep, and now you are feeling it too." When the music ended, the princess opened her eyes. Jake was surprised to see they looked wet, like she might cry. "Is this normal?" she asked. "To feel what another person felt even if they are not here?" "Very normal," Ambassador Carter said, gently. "That's why humans create art. To share our deepest feelings across time and space." Commander Night Whisper looked alarmed. "Princess, this is exactly what I feared. These humans are changing how you think and feel. This is not natural for our people." But the princess stood up and walked to the window again. She looked out at the stars for a long time. "Zara," she said to her guard, "in my entire life, have you ever seen me cry?" Commander Night Whisper looked uncomfortable. "No, Princess." "Have you ever seen me express wonder at a sunset, or joy at music, or sadness at a story?" "No, Princess. Such expressions are not appropriate for royalty." The princess turned back to the humans. "But I felt those things when I listened to your music. I have always felt them, but I was taught to hide them, to control them, to make them disappear." She walked back to Jake. "When you said I was beautiful, you were not trying to control me. You were sharing a feeling like the artist who painted the sunset." "Yes," Jake said. Exactly like that. The princess sat down again, closer to Jake this time. I want to learn more about this. I want to understand how humans live with these open feelings. Over the next several hours, Jake and the others showed the princess more human culture. They played different kinds of music. They showed her photographs of beautiful places on Earth. They read her poetry about love and loss and joy. With each new thing, the princess seemed to change a little. Her voice became warmer. She smiled more often. The lights in her hair seemed brighter and more varied in color. In my culture, she told Jake during a quiet moment, I have lived for 80 of your years, but I have never been allowed to express what I truly feel. I must always be controlled, perfect, royal. That sounds lonely, Jake said. It is very lonely, she agreed. I am surrounded by people, but they only speak to me about duties and laws and politics. No one has ever shared wonder with me before. Commander, Night Whisper had been growing more worried with each passing hour. Finally, she stood up. Princess, I must insist we return to our ship. This exposure to human emotions is changing you in ways that may be dangerous. The princess looked at her guard for a long time. Dangerous to whom, Zara? To you, princess, to our people, to the natural order of things. But what if the natural order is wrong? The princess asked quietly. The room went completely silent. Even the soft humming of the ship seemed to stop. Commander Night Whisper's hand moved to her weapon. Princess, you cannot mean that. I mean exactly that, the princess said, standing up. What if controlling all our thoughts and feelings is not strength but weakness? What if these humans have found something we lost long ago? Princess, please, Commander Night Whisper said. Let us return to our ship and discuss this privately. But the princess shook her head. No, Zara. I want to try something. She looked at Jake. You expressed wonder about my beauty without thinking, correct? Jake nodded, still not sure where this was going. I want to try that, the princess said. I want to express a feeling without controlling it first. She stood very still for a moment, looking at Jake. The lights in her hair began to pulse faster. Her star-filled eyes seemed to glow brighter. Then she spoke, and her voice was different. Instead of the controlled musical tone she had used before, it sounded more natural, more real. Jake Morrison, she said, you have shown me wonders I never knew existed. Your kindness and openness make me feel happy. Truly happy for the first time in my very long life. The moment she finished speaking, Commander Night Whisper drew her weapon completely. The other guard, who had been silent until now, also reached for his weapon. That is enough, Commander Night Whisper said. Princess, you have been contaminated by these humans. We are returning to our ship immediately, and these humans will be arrested for crimes against the royal mind. But Princess Lyrelei smiled, and it was the most beautiful smile Jake had ever seen. No, Zara, she said calmly. We are not. The lights in her hair suddenly blazed with brilliant color. Her eyes filled with starlight. And for the first time in her life, Princess Lyrelei prepared to fight for her right to feel. Commander Night Whisper's weapon hummed with dangerous energy. The other guard, whose name was Captain Stone Drifter, also had his weapon ready. Both aliens looked ready to fight. Princess, Commander Night Whisper said, you will come with us, now. These humans have used some kind of mind control on you. You are not thinking clearly. The princess stood very straight. The lights in her hair were now blazing with colors Jake had never seen before. Her star-filled eyes seemed to burn with inner fire. I am thinking more clearly than I ever have in my life, she said. Ambassador Carter stepped between the aliens and Jake. Please, everyone stay calm. Let's talk about this peacefully. But Commander Night Whisper shook her head. There is nothing to discuss. This human, she pointed at Jake, has committed cognitive warfare against our princess. According to Zephyrian law, he must face trial. Captain Rodriguez moved closer to her crew. And according to human law, our people are under our protection. No one is going anywhere. Jake felt sick. This was all his fault. If he had just kept his mouth shut, none of this would be happening. What exactly do you think I did? Jake asked Commander Night Whisper. You used primitive human charm techniques to influence the princess's mind, she replied. You made her think thoughts and feel feelings that are not natural to her. Dr. Park spoke up. Commander, with respect, we've been monitoring everything with our instruments. Jake has no telepathic ability at all. He can't influence anyone's mind. Then explain why the princess is acting so strangely, Captain Stone Drifter said. His voice was deep and rough. Princess Lyrelei laughed. It was a sound like silver bells, but with something new in it. Something free. I will explain, she said. But first I want to show you all something. She walked to the center of the room. The lights in her hair began to pulse in a steady rhythm. She closed her eyes and raised her hands. Suddenly, the air around her began to shimmer. Colors appeared in the air, floating like bright clouds. The colors moved and danced, forming shapes and patterns. This is crystal singing, she said. It is how my people show thoughts and feelings through light. The colors in the air changed. They became soft blues and greens, peaceful and calm. This was how she had always done crystal singing before. Controlled, perfect, royal. This is how I was taught to express myself, she said. Always controlled, always the same. Always what others expected of a princess. Then the colors suddenly exploded into something completely different. Bright reds and golds and purples swirled through the air like a storm of joy. The patterns were wild and free and beautiful. And this, she said, opening her eyes, is how I feel right now. Commander Night Whisper stepped backward. Princess, that is impossible. No Zephyrian has ever shown such uncontrolled expression. Because we were never allowed to, the princess said. But Jake showed me that feelings don't have to be controlled to be beautiful. They can be wild and free and honest. She turned to Jake. When you said I was beautiful, you were not trying to control me. You were being honest. I want to be honest too. Commander Night Whisper looked angry and scared. Princess, I cannot allow this to continue. You are coming with us, and these humans will face trial for what they have done to you. And I cannot allow that, the princess said firmly. Jake and his people have done nothing wrong. They have shown me a new way to exist. The two guards raised their weapons higher. The weapons glowed brighter, making dangerous humming sounds. Then you leave us no choice, Commander Night Whisper said. If you will not come willingly, we will take you by force, and we will arrest the humans for crimes against the royal mind. Ambassador Carter looked very worried. Princess, perhaps you should go with them. We don't want to cause an incident between our peoples. But the princess shook her head. Helen, if I go back now, they will erase these new feelings from my mind. They will make me forget what I learned here. I will go back to being empty and controlled and lonely. Jake felt terrible. Princess, I never meant for this to happen. If my words caused all this trouble, maybe it would be better if— No, the princess said strongly. Your words gave me the greatest gift I have ever received. They gave me the ability to feel freely. She turned to face her guards. Zara, I challenge your decision. I call for a formal duel of minds. Both guards looked shocked. Captain Stone Drifter's weapon actually stopped humming for a moment. Princess, Commander Night Whisper said slowly, you cannot be serious. You have never fought a mind duel before. Then it is time I learned, the princess said. Jake had read about mind duels in the files. They were how Zephyrians settled serious disagreements. Two people would fight using only their telepathic abilities. The winner was right, and the loser had to accept their decision. Princess, Commander Night Whisper said, if you lose this duel, you will come with us willingly and allow us to erase these human influences from your mind. And if I win, the princess said, you will accept that my feelings are real and my own choice. You will not arrest the humans, and you will allow me to continue learning about their culture. Commander Night Whisper thought about it for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. Very well, princess, but know that I am a trained warrior. I have fought many mind duels. You are royal, but you are not a fighter. The princess smiled. We shall see. She looked at Jake. Jake Morrison, will you watch my duel? I want you to see me fight for the right to feel. Jake nodded, even though he was terrified. "I'll be here, Your Highness." The princess and Commander Night Whisper stood facing each other in the center of the room. The lights dimmed automatically. Everyone else moved back to give them space. "This duel will determine the fate of human-Zephyrian relations, Ambassador," Carter whispered to Jake. Jake watched as both aliens closed their eyes and raised their hands. The air between them began to shimmer and spark with energy. The mind duel was about to begin. And Jake knew that everything, the princess's freedom, the future of both their peoples, maybe even his own life, depended on what happened next. The princess had never fought before, but she was fighting for something she had never had before, either the right to feel wonder, the right to be honest, the right to be free. Jake hoped it would be enough. The air between Princess Lyrily and Commander Night Whisper crackled with invisible energy. Jake could feel something electric in the room, like the moment before lightning strikes. Both aliens stood very still with their eyes closed. Their hands were raised, fingers spread wide. The mind duel had begun, but Jake could not see what was happening. Then the air started to change colors. Streams of silver light flowed from Commander Night Whisper's hands. The light moved like liquid metal, forming sharp shapes and cutting edges. This was the mind of a trained warrior, controlled, precise, and dangerous. From the princess came different colors entirely. At first her light was the soft blue and gold that Jake had seen before, but as he watched it began to change. "She's losing," Dr. Park whispered. "The commander's attack is too strong." Jake wanted to help, but there was nothing he could do. This was a battle of minds, and humans had no telepathic powers. Commander Night Whisper's silver light pressed forward, trying to overwhelm the princess's defenses. The sharp metal shapes cut through the air like swords, but then something amazing happened. The princess's light suddenly exploded into every color Jake had ever seen, and some he had never seen before. Instead of the controlled patterns typical of Zephyrian mental combat, her light moved like wild music, like dancing fire, like joy itself. "What is she doing?" Captain Stone Drifter asked, staring in amazement. Jake understood. "She's fighting with feeling instead of control. She's using everything we talked about: wonder, joy, freedom, honesty." The princess's wild, colorful light began to push back against Commander Night Whisper's silver attacks. But it wasn't fighting the way the commander expected. Instead of blocking the silver light, the colorful light embraced it, wrapped around it, transformed it. Commander Night Whisper's eyes snapped open in surprise. She had never faced an opponent who fought with pure emotion instead of controlled telepathic technique. The colors in the air grew brighter and more beautiful. Jake could feel the emotions the princess was projecting, not directed at him but flowing freely through the room. He felt her joy at discovering music, her wonder at seeing human art, her happiness at making friends, and he felt something else. He felt her gratitude toward him for showing her that feelings could be beautiful. Commander Night Whisper tried to regain control of the duel. Her silver light became sharper, more aggressive, but the princess's emotional light simply flowed around every attack, turning aggression into beauty, control into freedom. "Impossible," Commander Night Whisper said out loud. "No one can fight this way." "She's not fighting," Jake realized. "She's expressing. She's showing you what it feels like to be free." The colors in the air began to affect everyone in the room. Ambassador Carter smiled as she felt the princess's joy. Dr. Park wiped tears from her eyes as she experienced the princess's wonder. Even Captain Stone Drifter lowered his weapon, amazed by the beauty of uncontrolled emotion. Commander Night Whisper's silver light began to waver. She had trained her whole life to control her thoughts and feelings. She had never learned how to fight against someone who embraced feeling completely. "This is not how mind duels work," she said desperately. "Maybe that's the problem," the princess said, her eyes still closed. "Maybe we've been doing everything wrong." The colorful light suddenly surged forward, not attacking, but welcoming. It surrounded Commander Night Whisper's silver light like a warm embrace. And in that embrace, Commander Night Whisper felt something she had not felt since she was a child. She felt wonder. The wonder of seeing stars for the first time. The wonder of hearing music that moved her heart. The wonder of making a friend who accepted her exactly as she was. Commander Night Whisper's silver light suddenly changed color. It became soft gold, then warm red, then gentle blue. Her controlled, mental defenses dissolved as she remembered what it felt like to feel freely. She opened her eyes and Jake was amazed to see that she was crying. "Princess," she whispered, "what have you shown me?" "I've shown you what Jake showed me," the princess said, opening her own eyes. "I've shown you that feelings don't make us weak. They make us alive." Commander Night Whisper lowered her hands completely. The mind duel was over. I concede," she said quietly. "I cannot fight against something so beautiful." The colors in the air slowly faded, but the feeling of wonder remained. Princess Lyrelay walked over to Commander Night Whisper and took her hands. "Zara, you have been my protector for many years, but you were protecting me from the wrong things. You were protecting me from joy, from wonder, from the very things that make life worth living." Commander Night Whisper nodded slowly. "I see that now, Princess. Forgive me." She turned to Jake. "Human, I apologize. You have given our princess a gift I did not understand. You have given her the ability to truly live." Jake felt relief wash over him like cool water. "Thank you, Commander." Ambassador Carter stepped forward. "Does this mean our peoples can be friends?" Princess Lyrelay smiled, and it was like watching the sun rise. "More than friends," she said. "We can be teachers for each other. My people have much to learn about emotion and freedom, and perhaps we can teach you about the beauty of mental connection and the power of the mind." Over the following days, the princess worked with the human diplomatic team to establish formal relations between Earth and the Zephyrian Empire. But more than that, she began what she called the Revolution of Honesty. She sent messages to her homeworld, sharing the recordings of her mind duel and explaining what she had learned about emotional freedom. Many young Zephyrians were fascinated by the idea of expressing feelings openly. Jake found himself appointed as the first emotional ambassador between the two species. His job was to help other Zephyrians learn about human emotional expression and to help humans understand Zephyrian mental abilities. The princess decided to stay with the human diplomatic mission for a full year, learning everything she could about human culture. Commander Night Whisper asked to stay as well, curious about this new way of existing. On their last night in orbit around the Zephyrian homeworld, Jake and the princess stood in the observation lounge, watching the 3 silver moons. "Jake," the princess said quietly, "I want to try something." "What's that, Your Highness?" "I want to give you a compliment the way humans do, without thinking too much about it first." She looked at him with those star-filled eyes. The lights in her hair pulsed gently. "Jake Morrison," she said, "you have a beautiful heart. Kind and honest and brave. When I look at you, I feel grateful to be alive in the same universe." Jake smiled. "Thank you, Your Highness. That means more to me than you know." "And Jake, yes, you can call me Lyrelay. Friends don't need to use titles." As they watched the stars together, Jake thought about how strange life could be. One accidentally overheard comment had changed everything. It had nearly caused an interstellar war, but instead it had started a revolution that began with a simple, honest expression of wonder. And as the princess, as Lyrelay, laughed at something he said, Jake realized that wonder was the most powerful force in the universe. It could break down walls, change minds, and connect hearts across the vast distances between stars. All because sometimes beautiful things make people want to say so out loud, even when they think no one is listening.